Ladies and gentlemen, I stood frozen on the stage, staring out at an audience of disapproving faces. Boo! Get that girl off the stage! Yeah, get her out of there! A few men yelled, their anger sucking the life out of me. I was only 13 years old. Somehow I knew I belonged on that stage, even when everything my entire life had told me otherwise. That night, the entire community had come together for community dinner, and they were raising money for the Boy Scouts. All of the boys, the teenage boys, were invited up to the stage, and I, in my audacity, marched right up there with them. Planted myself on the stage, right there among the boys. Now, do I look like a boy to you? They didn't fall for it either. When the announcer got to me, he asked, just what do you think you can do? You see, the boys were selling their time and their services for money. So what could I do? I can do anything a boy can do. Laughter rang out through the audience. And it ripped at my heart, reminding me that I was just a stupid, worthless girl. And then from the back of the room, I heard the sweetest voice. I'll give you $50 for that girl. She works harder than any of those boys. That was my next door neighbor. Oh, elderly widow who I didn't know had been watching me. She had been watching me hauling heavy wheelbarrows of dirt and big, heavy boulders as punishment for being expelled from 8th grade. Now, I know you gotta be wondering, what did a nice girl like me do to get expelled from 8th grade? Well, I'll tell you. I had a male teacher who had been touching me inappropriately. And one day, in front of the entire 8th grade class, I told him to get your filthy hands off me. Although I might have used a different word that starts with an A. Ultimately, though, I was punished for standing up for myself and for speaking my truth. You see, I grew up in the mountains of Montana in a polygamous doomsday cult. In this environment, men had all the power. Men were the only ones who were allowed opinions. And men were the only ones who were allowed to speak on stage. And men had more power over a girl's body than she did. So for me to stand up for myself and own my voice, that was a rebellion that needed to be silenced. That night on that stage, my voice was silenced. For the next 30 years, the stage called to me. And my head said, are you nuts? Then a few years ago, I started writing a book about growing up in this cult. I started hearing from industry professionals that if I wanted to be a successful author, I needed to learn how to speak in public. I was terrified, as you can imagine. And one evening I was invited to a meeting that was all about the art of mastering toast. It was there that Charmaine spoke. She talked about growing up in the ghettos of Jamaica and how she never knew if she would live to see another day. She talked about laying in bed one night and how the bullets riddled through the wall next to her bed. And she didn't know if she would make it through the night. She ended her story with saying that we all have our ghettos. And in her story, I realized for the first time that I wasn't alone. Her ghetto may have been different from mine, but it was still the same story. Through her story, I started to find the courage welling up in me to start telling my story. Since that time, I've had the opportunity to speak on many stages and share the stage with men and women who have overcome tremendous adversaries. And every time they tell their story, I'm inspired. I've met women who have risen above tremendous circumstances and give me the power within myself to speak my truth. I've met men who lift women up and have helped me to heal my anger and resentment toward the patriarchy and find peace within myself. What I found is that they all have one thing in common: the courage to speak their truth. I found that every story is worth telling, and every person's truth has value. As for me, they can boo all they want, because no one is getting this girl off the stage, except for perhaps Madeline.